Okay, day 18, we've got a really nice stretch today. We'll be doing so much. We're 2 weeks in, our mobility and our stability. So let's have a good old stretch. We're going to need a block today and our strap. Maybe you don't need a strap for the hamstring stretch. And then also, if you do have a resistance band, that can come in really handy just for one of the exercises. So no bother if not. And if you could all go towards a wall for your practice today, because we're just going to be doing a couple of exercises that, again, you don't have to have a wall, but you're probably going to feel a bit tired after a while if you don't have the wall there. Okay, let's get started. Grabbing the block first, coming all the way to the wall, and we're going to be putting this block in between our legs. So we've got the short end and the short end facing our face and then facing our feet, so that our knees are hips width distance apart. If you feel like you need to take the block a little bit narrower, then absolutely do so. Wherever feels like you've got the knees hips width distance apart. Think about the knees in line with the hips, feet in line with the knees, toes facing straight up, and settle in here. This is perfect for helping our hips start to align, start to sink down. Just the tiniest amount of pressure into that block with the sides of the knees. And with every exhale, feel this hips sinking further into the ground, really helping towards our alignment. Maybe you've got the eyes closed down. And just come into your breath here. Allow that lower back to sink into the ground as much as feasible for your back. It doesn't have to be flat on the ground, just growing heavier. Maybe you're counting your breath as a way to come into the present, as a way to not think about the past or think about the future. Inhaling all the way down to the belly button, all the way up to the collarbone. Think about all four corners of your feet grounding into that wall. Maybe you need to focus on the big toe. If everything that we've learned this week, you now realise that you are somebody that rolls to the outside of their feet quite a lot. And even just by doing this, you might start to feel some tension in your calves, just because your feet and your legs are going to be moving differently than they normally would. Take 3 more breaths here. At the end of that last breath, grab the block away from the knees. Maybe you want to just hug the knees into the chest. And then we're going to come up all the way to the wall, so our bum close to the wall. And now we're going to put this block, probably the flattest point on the ground, just under our lower backs. So So scooch up to the wall. Maybe you put your feet up first and then you can prop yourself up. So the block just under that lower back. I'm going to take my arms out long. And this should feel really, really nice on that back. If for any reason it doesn't, take the block away and then just put your feet up on the wall. Still focusing on your breath. You've got nothing else to do. The wall is supporting all of that weight. Take 3 more rounds of breath here. And once you come to the end of that third breath, take the legs off of the wall. Again, maybe you want to draw those knees in towards your chest. And then roll over to the side, however ungracefully grab this block away from you. And sit all the way up, staying close to the wall. Maybe if you know that you want a little bit of extra support in a lunge, maybe you grab both of your blocks or kitchen rolls or whatever. We're coming into a King Arthur stretch. So you're going to be having your right leg forward first, then we're going to be bending up this left knee, trying to take the knee as close to the wall as possible, as feels comfortable. But depending on how tight the quads are, you might have your knee further away. Making sure that we've got this right knee and ankle in line. Sitting up tall here. If you don't have blocks, you can just rest your hands onto the thighs, wherever feels comfortable. Try to keep nice and upright. A really deep stretch through the quads, so don't worry if you do have to take the knee further away from the wall, just to take a little bit of a less stretch here. Stretching all down through that left hip flexor as well. If you are feeling any pain or discomfort in your knee, what you might want to try first is just making sure that you're rolling and the weight is on the top here, not directly on the bony, the actual patella, the actual kneecap. It's just above it. And if that is still awful for you, then come all the way down to lying onto your belly. And then pick up one of your legs and just bring that heel close to your glutes. That'll still be the same quad stretch, or you can even just do a quad stretch standing and then go close to a wall, and that's going to help you if you've got any wobbles. Final inhale. Exhale, switching over to the other side. Ease into it gently. I don't know how people practice with their hair down. It goes everywhere. Okay, sitting up nice and tall. And just notice if one side is a lot tighter than the other. Again, I keep on going on about you learning about your bodies. This is just so great because you know that if you're in a class setting and somebody tries to adjust you, or you're in a gym or something, and you can say, actually, do you know what? I know that my body doesn't perform well like that, or actually this is a better stretch for me. It's creating all this power for you, and it leads to less injuries as well. There's been so many times that an instructor has adjusted a student, and actually because if you can imagine in a class setting, there are so many students around that you might not know the intricate details of how that person's body works or their previous injuries. So you know more about your body than anybody can ever know. So really hold on to these things that we're learning through this challenge. Breathing here. Final inhale. Exhale all the way down, taking those blocks away. Coming down to our backs, grabbing our strap or your scarf or your belt, all the way down. Just take the feet out to the side, knock the knees in. Coming into our hamstring stretch, taking the left leg long, bending the right knee into the chest, pulling it really close in. And then taking hold of your calf, your ankle, your big toe, your hamstring. Maybe you're wrapping that strap around the foot, around the leg for this hamstring stretch. Remember, a straight leg is not essential, just making sure you're activating the quads. That helps lengthen the hamstrings. What we do want though is to try to get this right shoulder as close to the ground as possible. So that's why I encourage you to use a strap, because it means that you're not overstretching. We can try and keep this back as close to the ground as possible. Flexing the feet, remember flexing the feet. That helps activate the shins, helps activate the knee, quads, lengthens the hamstring. Everything is so familiar. Once you start to hear it once, you hear it again and again and again, and you can make it completely drawing it into your own practice. Breathing here. Maybe on your exhale you can bring that leg a little bit closer. Not essential. All we want to do with loosening up and lengthening these hamstrings is to help us not get any pain in our lower back when we have tight or short hamstrings. It can create this posterior tilt because our hamstrings are pulling down, our glutes pulling down our lower back. Final inhale. Exhale, release all the way over to the other side. Maybe you want to give your legs a little bit of a shake, bending up this left knee, hugging the left knee into the chest. And when you feel ready, start to straighten through this left leg. Thinking about everything I said on the other side still applies. Remember how important your breath is in moments like these. Reducing that fight or flight, allowing your muscles to create these positive memories, allowing them to open up because they feel safe. Final inhale. Exhale all the way down. Take the feet out to the side again, knock the knees in. Take some nice breaths here. Coming into my favourite supine twist of all time, our reclined pigeon supine twist. So taking this right leg, crossing it over the left thigh, flexing the right foot, left hand onto that right ankle, right hand out to the side, and on your exhale taking this right foot down to the left, still pulling that ankle with the left hand, drawing that knee away from your face. And maybe you're taking this gaze over to the right, feeling that nice stretch through the outside of that right hip. Grounding through the right shoulder. Inhale all the way back up, switching over to the other side. Left leg crosses over the right, right hand onto the left ankle, left hand long. Exhale, taking that left foot down to the right side, gazing over to the left. Keep pulling this ankle with the right hand, keep drawing that left knee away from the face towards the front of the mat. Inhale slowly all the way back to centre. Hug the knees into the chest. If you feel comfortable doing so, rock and roll up and down the mat. If not, roll over to the side. Just in our all fours for a second, and then rolling all the way up into a forward fold. Think about the weight in the toes, bending the knees, making sure the chest or belly is resting onto those thighs. Head is hanging. Take some really nice deep breaths here. Think about all four corners of the feet grounding. Plant the hands on the ground just in front of those feet. Start to straighten through the left leg and then the right leg. Just really nice gentle pedaling here, trying to keep that bent leg, thigh and chest grounded towards one another. And when you're ready, inhale all the way up to standing really, really slowly. Dramatic hair flick. Okay, if you do have your resistance band, grab that now. I'm going to put it around our ankles. If you don't have a resistance band, like I said, do not worry. Okay, so around our ankles, just above the actual ankle bone, taking the feet just as wide as they need to go to create this resistance. If you don't have a band, what I want you to do is take the movements of forward, side and back a little bit more, because that's going to test this balance, this stability. Remember, we want to resist change. So, Maybe you want to bend through this left leg just ever so slightly if you know you're somebody that locks this knee out. Making sure you're grounding through all four corners of the feet, taking the right foot forward, to the side, to the back. And you'll feel that as we start to move this foot, it tries to pull the left foot with it. So that is why we want to ground all four corners of the feet. Activating that leg, really nice strength and stretching for all of those muscles around the hips. You might feel this left standing leg start to get a bit weak, so really think about grounding that big toe. Taking it 2 more times, forward, side and back. This is a great one for runners as well because it strengthens up all this side, helping any IT band issues. Oh, I did 3 times. Okay, other side. Oh my God. Okay. If you want to give it a bit more of a test, take that leg further with your resistance band, take the movements faster. I can't concentrate and talk. Okay, 2 more times. Nice, okay, that's literally it with our resistance band. Completely release. Coming back towards your wall again, we're going to take our right foot in front, left foot behind. So directly in front, behind one another. You're going to be about 8 inches away from the wall, an inch as well, that if you can see. And then we're going to take our hands to our shoulders and then moving from the waist, so thinking about this left rib cage, spinning us around to the wall. So we're crossing over to the right side, placing the hands onto the wall and feeling like this left hip can come with us. That's absolutely fine. And using this right hand that's on the wall to really try to spin us around even more. You'll find a nice big stretch down that left hip. Three more rounds of breath here. And then spin all the way around. So the left foot is now in front, right foot is behind. Hands to the shoulders, using this right oblique to spin you all the way around to plant the hands onto the wall. And again, it's the left hand this time that's our leverage to pull us round. Feeling like this right hip can come with you, and you should feel a nice stretch down the outside of that right hip. Final inhale. Exhale all the way around, back to the front, back to your mat. Plant the feet just hips width distance apart. Big inhale, hands all the way up. Exhale, bend over to the right, feeling this stretch down the left side. Inhale all the way up. Exhale over to the left, stretching the right side. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, fold down to your forward fold. Plant the hands, step straight back to your downward dog. Only here for a couple of rounds of breath, pushing that mat away. Relaxing that head. Coming into our pigeon pose. Now, if you know that this is not for you, then come back down onto your back and do it like we did at the start, but without that supine twist. Taking this right leg all the way forward, so the right ankle is going towards the left hand, right knee towards the right hand, and then walk this left leg further back. Maybe you want a block underneath this right hip, that is absolutely fine. And what I really want you to be thinking about is both hips grounding the same as the other one, so not grounding this right hip more than the left, because you might not be able to see so closely. I'll show you on the other side, but the left hip is now no longer square to the right, so really think about this right and left hip bones grounding to the ground, so all the way on the front of the knee, front of that left foot. Breathing here. Maybe you close down the eyes. Planting the hands, tucking the left toes, stepping this right foot straight back into your downward dog. Maybe you want to pedal those feet out. And when you're ready, left foot all the way through, so the left foot towards the right hand, left knee towards the left hand, coming all the way down. So like I was trying to show you on the other side, if I didn't square my hips, I get this diagonal line. I then roll my heel inwards. Whereas I think about this right hip being square to my left, that means that my knee is straight down and the front of my foot is straight down. And you're then working both hips equally, working towards this alignment. Working our way out of this pose. If it's comfortable for you, you can bring this right foot all the way forward. If not, come back through your downward dog, through your all fours, and then come all the way down to lying onto your backs. Feet out to the side, knock the knees in. Coming into our Shavasana, so if there's anything else you want to do, please do it. And if not, take one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. I'm actually going to stay with my knees knocking together. But you can come down into your true Shavasana. Close down the eyes and really focus on this belly rising and falling. Trying to cement this feeling of calm into your mind, and just notice, what did it come from? Did it come from the stretching? Did it come from the breathing? because you know you can do these stretches and just this breath work in tiny little sections throughout your day. It doesn't have to be a whole session. And even if you just quickly sit still, close your eyes and take 10 deep breaths. Starting to work our way out of our Shavasana, wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers. Big stretch. Bend up the knees, roll over to one side, keeping the eyes closed. And then roll yourself all the way up to seated. Hands onto the thighs, palms facing up. I want everybody to take 3 deep breaths with 3 loud exhales through the mouth. Feels good, right? It makes me smile doing that. I don't know why. Okay, coming to the end of the class, taking the hands to heart center. Thumbs to the third eye. Well done, another day of taking care of you. Well done for showing up as always, and I'm so, so grateful to share my practice with you. Whenever you are ready, take your hands away from the eyes and blink the eyes open.